Welcome back, party people. We're going to do a quick video on some ways you can jazz up your OBS layouts, whether you're using Streamlabs or OBS Studio. Just some fun things you can do with your logos to make it a little more dynamic, especially if you're using something like a Stream Deck or have ways to trigger things. The only thing you need is basically either a video editor or Photoshop. I'm using the Adobe suite, so I have Premiere and Photoshop, and that's what we're going to use. All you really need for this episode is to know how to import. So you just need to click this. We're going to import a few logos. Hopefully my cat does not jump on everything. So let's start with my Pittsburgh homie, DJ Stitch. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click this and you'll see the effects control. What I want to do is reduce the scale so it's not interfering. So right now you hit play and there's the logo. It's a great logo. But let's say you want to make it pump. So you would determine I want it to pump for a few seconds. So all you need to do that is you bring your cursor back to the beginning, go up to scale, and this little stopwatch here will turn on your keyframes. And what keyframing does is it allows you at certain points to add keyframes and change how things react. So right now, it's at the scale that it is. If I want to make it so at the end, it's this big, I'm going to bring it here and hit play. Now you can control the speed of that if you right click. Go to speed duration. So when you load this into OBS and you click loop, it's going to loop. You also have that slider that determines the speed, so you can change the speed. So right now, we have that. That's cool. Let's say okay, so now we have my fellow Ontario homie Little Fever's logo. And let's say we want to do a spin. So obviously you want to make it small enough so when it rotates, it's not cutting anything off. So same principle applies. You bring the cursor back to the beginning and you see this rotation. You click that and that puts the first keyframe there. And at the end, you're going to rotate it 360 degrees, which will make it, you'll see a 1. There, 1 times 0. So now when we click play, and again, this will loop in OBS however long you want. Now we can also say, well, you know what? That's cool. You know what? I'm gonna show you really quick how to bounce these as well, so we can start doing more. So once you have something clicked, you hit Command M, and that will bring up the window to do it. And this is the important part. You want to make sure you have QuickTime selected. And then here, you want animation. It has to be on animation. And then you're going to scroll down to where you see this depth 8-bit. or 8-bit with alpha, you always want to click the alpha, because if you don't do that, it will record the black background. If you click the alpha, it's only going to record the logo. And then you decide where you want to do it. Movie, we'll put it logo, little fever head, hit export, and it's usually pretty quick. So let's go see how this works. So we open up OBS. What we're going to do is create a media source. Make sure loop is on. You're going to browse for that logo folder. Open it. And there you go. An infinitely looping little fever head. So that's one. Let's say that halfway through, and what you'll see right here is the timeline. If you go into rotation and you click this button, it will add another keyframe. So I can go to that keyframe and make it that the full rotation. And then here, have it do full rotation back. So it's almost like that's cute. So what you can also do besides just the rotation is say, I want it to go here and I want the scale at this point to go down, and then when it comes back, what was it here? Four. So one, and then back. And you can just click 4. So and it will infinite loop. Again, to bounce it, Command M, little fever head 2. Make sure QuickTime, Animation, and 8-bit. Yes. Click export. So now that it's done, let's go to OBS. Add another media source. Fever 2. Loop. Browse. Loop fever head 2. For my Thursday night train, Darth Vader had graciously made a green screen. So as you can see, they're transparent. We can if any DJs want to send me their logo or want to do something cool with a green screen to go on my Thursday Twitch Subway stream, just send it to djstrobe@gmail.com and put Subway logo or Subway video in it. So, not to get off track. So let's go back. And so we have this stitch one. We're going to do the same thing. Stitch pump. We're going to export it. Same thing. Go into OBS and media source. Stitch one. Loop. Logos. So, and again, the cool thing, stitch, you can go in, change the speed. If I want it to go really fast, so those are just a couple things you can do. You know, you can just have it where it stays stagnant and then you click, you know, a button and it'll rotate if you have like a Stream Deck, you know, or you could just have this like sitting in a corner. It's just something a little more that catches your eye than it just standing there normally. Now, here's another cool thing you can do. If you know Photoshop, so here we are in Adobe Photoshop. And as you can see, I've got my logo, Stitch's logo, and Little Fever's logo. The reason that it's on a magenta background and not green is because Stitch's logo has green in it, and if I key out the green, I'll lose part of his logo. And that's an important thing to remember. You can use pretty much any solid color as long as it's not interfering with your main subject. So OBS actually has a magenta preset, so when I put this in OBS, it will cut away all the magenta. So what we want to do is make sure we're on the layer that has all our logos. And as you can see, if I get rid of the magenta, we're going to right click, select pixels. And we're going to go up to the select, modify, and expand. So what the expand is going to do is take the boundary and move it out. And so we're going to try 20 pixels and you can see what it did. Then we're going to go to the magenta part and hit delete. And as you can see, it took away an area. So if you're familiar with green screens, you could probably guess what we're going to do when we import this into Premiere. If not, you're going to find out soon. So what we're going to do is we're going to save this. We're going to save it as a PNG. Hit save. And then we can exit out of Photoshop. Please double click and open these logos. So if you find that when you import something it's too large, you can right click and go set to frame size and it'll bring it back down. So now that we have that, move that up to another layer. So we're going to take this, we're going to import it, throw it underneath. So now, turn it on. Again, we're going to set the frame size. So when I hit play, so since the background color is magenta and the video is magenta, I dropped a tint onto it to make it blue. Cool. Because if I didn't, when I keyed out the magenta in OBS, it would have keyed out the background. So now what we're going to do, same thing. Command M. export that, go into OBS, add that, loop it, so let's get rid of the other ones real quick. Actually, we can now, let's add a media source back. Oop. Movie. Cool. We're gonna add that as the back. Bring that underneath. Go into logos. Make sure you're on the right layer. Add a chroma key. We're going to switch it to magenta, and boom, it's gone. So now you have these logos that have a cool little sparkly background, and you can further go in with filters and change the colors of things. And you know, like if you click Option or Alt, like you don't have to actually go and add a crop filter. You can just hold it down and crop it by holding down the key and dragging. And then you can resize it. So right there you have a cool little, logo that's a little more dynamic than just having it like that. And you can throw any video. So that's just a couple fun things. If you have any questions, you can post it on these videos, or you can reach out to me at djstrobe@gmail.com. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time.